Sometimes we talk about animals as if they're separate from us, but how true is that really? Because as far as I'm aware, we get cold like them, we want to eat like them, we want to sleep like them, we want to reproduce like them. We're not really that different. Yes, there are qualities that make you more than just an ape. There are qualities that make a human human, but some of them are felt deeper than others, and then some of them are things that everyone does that separates us from animals. And it's words. No other animal uses words. No plant uses words. Words changed everything. They let us evolve into the society that we had today. Without words, even sign language is still words. There would be no human race as we know it today. It changed everything. And words can of course make someone's life a living hell, or they can make it far better than anyone could ever imagine. For example, words are what allowed a stupid man with a dumb mustache in the 40s to end up killing millions of people. And words are also what let Martin Luther King Jr. inspire the whole nation to give us the civil rights that is just so incredible today. And you have the same power in your throat and in your brain. Words can be emotional poisons or emotional antidotes, and that's why recently I've been doing this thing, which is quite tiring, but I think the outcome of it can be very profound, and it's to choose every single word that comes out of my mouth carefully. Ruiz, the author of the Four Agreements, calls this being impeccable with your word. Words can often spill out of us like a clumsy waiter that's giving you your food and ends up dropping plates and drinks on you. We're not really aware when we're talking, and I might not be aware of the vibrations I feel in my throat, in my chest, or the vocabulary that I'm choosing to use. But if we choose the words we're going to use very carefully, it changes everything. Now, of course, when you are talking to someone, you shouldn't be thinking of what you want to say next. But there's never been anything wrong with taking a good 5 seconds and just... First of all, it makes you look deep as hell. And then they're like, whoa, this guy. But also, it just gives them space to actually speak, and being actually listened to is something that's rare and is appreciated by everyone that you're going to do it with. But like I said, words can be used to inspire the world, and that's partially what I try to do here, but they can also harm the world, and you can be the source of that too. You don't have to just kill millions of people in Europe to cause pain to this world. You can also just gossip and talk shit about other people. Gossiping and talking shit about people is the worst thing you can possibly ever do with your mouth. You have the power to speak poetry and inspire millions of people and just make people's lives better. And instead of doing that, you're going to choose to bring someone else down behind their back, or maybe to their face, but likely behind their back. And not only does this feel good, the paradox of it is that it feels kind of good. But it only feels kind of good because when you're talking shit about someone with someone, you and that person are connecting. But in the worst kind of way possible. You're connecting over the fact that you're both suffering, and you both feel like you're horrible. That's your connection. When instead your connection could be talking about life and careers and the future and everything that we want to do in this world. But it's so much easier, and it can sometimes feel better on the surface level. Because when you have a really deep conversation with someone, I get chills, and it's like a natural high. It's the best feeling in the world for me, and you can have that too if you decide to just never talk shit about someone again. Isn't that such a simple vow you can just choose to make? There's nothing stopping you from just being like, I will never talk shit about someone again. And now you don't necessarily need to never do it again, because you're probably going to slip up. But by deciding that that's a goal that you have, it's certainly a goal that I have, because why would I ever want to or need to talk shit about someone or to bring someone else down? I don't want to connect with other people in that way, and it's just such a waste of breath. So if you resonate with that, raise your hand and be like, I will never talk shit or even gossip about someone else, because there's just so much better shit to do. And gossip is not just shit talking. It's also just conversation about other people that's in a neutral or negative light. When you're talking about someone else's shortcomings, how they failed a test or how they didn't do well in their school play or something, that's gossip. It's useless. Get rid of it. When someone's like, I don't do this at all anymore, and I'm very proud of it, actually. That's why I'm even openly talking about it. If I'm in a friend group with 2 other people, me and one of the other guys isn't talking shit about the third guy behind his back and then not saying it to his face when we see him. At least if that does happen to me, I change the subject immediately. Someone comes to me and tries to talk shit about me, I will change the subject immediately, because I took the vow. I'm never going to do it again. And it's a weight lifted off my back, and it's made my life and my conversations with people and relationships with people 10 times better. Take the vow now. I will never talk shit about anyone ever again. Don't know who I'm raising my hand to. Raise your hand. Okay, there we go. They'll say, oh, I hate drama. I hate talking about other people, but they're the ones that are doing it. So you need to be the guy that's like just changing the topic. You don't need to necessarily, damn airplane. You don't need to necessarily be like, hey, we shouldn't talk about this person. Just change the topic. And you're doing them a favor while doing yourself a favor too. Speaking of doing the right things with your mouth, I just want you to take a second and think about how your life could look if you took the actions and just did the right things with everything, which of course is easier said than done. But let's stop and think about this. Because there's almost 2 wolves inside of you, and the smarter, higher version of yourself doesn't want to talk shit about people. It doesn't want to eat junk food. It doesn't want to smoke weed. It doesn't want to drink alcohol. It wants to do none of those things. And it really just wants to return back to the natural state that we usually should be in, with God and present. And despite not wanting to consume content or do any of those other things, every single day we're still doing it, which led me to this belief that maybe we're only actually capable of using a certain amount of our brain, call it 5 to 10%. Only 5 to 10% of our brain, this is my theory, I don't actually know, I haven't done any research, of course, are we actually capable of using. But that 5 to 10% is all that you have. Being able to say no to not just talking shit, but to anything that's gonna bring you down, that gives you pleasure on the front end and just messes you up in the back end like junk food or drugs. That's the 5 to 10% you can control and you must control. So what is controlling us or running us if we're only using 5 to 10% of our brains? It's almost like the autopilot in a plane. And as a pilot, private instrument rated, autopilot's great. It reduces workload and lets you get to where you need to go safely and efficiently. But you're not supposed to use it the entire time you fly. You are supposed to hand fly the plane every now and then to make sure that everything is still running smoothly. Now, when is the last time you manually ran yourself and weren't just on autopilot, going through the motions, burning days away? When was the last time you did it? It's been years, for some people months, days, weeks, whatever it is, but it's been too damn long. And one of the smartest people I've ever met in my entire life one time asked me, when was the last time you've taken a conscious breath? And I was kind of disappointed in myself because I realized it had been weeks. And it might have been weeks for you too. So yes, we're smack middle of the video. But when is the last time you've taken a conscious breath? And I know it's been far too long. So let's take a conscious breath together right now. Breathing in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Your body asks a lot of you. It asks you to eat 3, 4, 5 times a day. It asks you to stay hydrated. It asks you to stay warm. It asks you to have sex. And if we just run around on autopilot, listening to our biological needs, not to mention the ego, oh, they made me feel bad, they hurt my feelings, they did X, Y, Z to me, the gossip that we so often find ourselves in, we just find ourselves consuming the first thing that we crave. Junk food, sure. Porn, sure. Nicotine, sure. Whatever it is, it's not going to get us to where we need to be. We're just taking all of this action and we're not really even moving the ball. It's like I used to have a bicycle when I was learning how to ride a bike, and I had the training wheel, and we would go in the gutter and I would just spin the pedals and I wasn't going anywhere. Are you just spinning your pedals and not going anywhere? And again, just being able to say no and controlling the 5 to 10% of what you actually can control, what you watch online, if you even watch things online, what you consume, the food you put in your body, how often you're drinking water, how often you're exercising, how often you're working towards a mission, a business, how often you choose to read instead of watch YouTube, how often you see someone and decide, hey, I actually could go talk to them, how often you decide to come into nature and visit a beautiful, this looks like a painting, a lake, whatever it is. This is the stuff that you can control. And again, you must control. Now, where you want to go is different for everyone. But, and this is very interesting because for me, where I want to go is being a touring musician, famous with my band, JaggN. Music links are in the description, by the way. But for some people, they're like, hey, I'm content with a normal life. I just want a marriage, and I just want kids, and I just want a nice house. And that's totally fine, but here's the thing. Your marriage, your kids, your financial situation is not going to work if you just listen to your biological needs like a robot on autopilot. You're not going to be present there for your kids as they grow up. When your wife or husband is having issues with you and the way you're acting, you're not going to listen to them. Your marriage is not going to work if you don't decide to get present. And so it's like, yeah, okay, why exercise? Why have a beautiful physique? Why do any of this stuff? Why can't I just eat my junk food? Because no matter where you want to end up, no matter where it is, you're not going to do it in the best way possible, in the most fulfilling way possible. If you don't get your shit together, if you don't control what you can control. Don't you want that beautiful marriage that lasts until you're dead? Don't you want those beautiful kids that you're watching grow up? Don't you want the beautiful friendships, the beautiful videos you might shoot? You're not going to have any of it unless you control what you can control. You can also control where you spend your money, which would be great if you were to look at my coaching and buy my coaching so I can help you personally, because I can only help you so much on video. I can help you personally. You almost need someone to help you one-on-one, and let me be that person. Links are in the description. I've been watching a lot of science videos recently, specifically Vsauce and Kurzgesagt, of course, and it's just got me thinking about space, and it just showed that I've also made progress, because this stuff used to make me anxious, but there was a certain feeling that I get when I watch those videos that I will only try to relay here. Because we live on this beautiful, beautiful blue marble, and we have oceans, and we have lakes, and there's animals here, and squirrels, and birds, and crocodiles, and we have the sky and the clouds, and we have the stars above us, and we have the Grand Canyon, and we have the 7 wonders of the world, and we have the perfect weather. Because if we were only a few miles closer to the sun or further away from the sun, it would not work out, and we would not be here. We are the perfect distance from the sun. Everything is so aligned incredibly perfectly. Our bodies just work. I get a cut. I don't have to be like, all right, let's heal this. It just happens. My brain just does what it has to do. My body just does what it has to do. Your body, you're not thinking about digesting your food. You're not really thinking about breathing until now, or blinking until now. The earth is never going to fall out of orbit with the sun. The sun will always rise, at least for the rest of our lifetimes, and probably 100 million lifetimes after that. Think about that, 100 million lifetimes after that. Gravity is not just going to stop working. I'm not just going to randomly start floating. That'd be a funny meme if you made me float. It's incredibly mind-boggling what this earth has to offer us. But then you look into space, and sure, you see the most beautiful, beautiful nebula and dust clouds that are only trillions of miles apart, that just happen to be the most beautiful thing you've seen in your entire life. And there just happens to be 100 trillion stars in the universe. Actually, more than that, every grain of sand on the earth is equal to like 1 billion stars in the sky. Every grain of sand. It's almost like God being like, yo, I'm right here. Do you not see me? I am right here. And this might be our one chance that we are the only life in the universe that we know of. We've never discovered aliens, not officially yet. I personally don't even believe in aliens. This is egotistical as hell, but I think humans are special enough that we are the only life in the universe. You're the only life in the universe, and you choose to spend your time. It's hilarious. I'm not specifically digging on you. I'm digging on myself too, because I used to be this way too. You spend all your time watching pointless brain rot on Instagram, eating dog shit food, being fat, being lustful, talking shit about people, being negative. There is no room for negativity in this world at all, because you're going to die, brother. I've talked about this before, but we only have so many years on this earth left, and you don't know what tomorrow brings. Your mother could die tomorrow. That person that you have beef with could die tomorrow. And it was all going to be like, yo, for what? All the rappers that get shot for what? Over beef? We don't even understand the extent of how incredible our brains are, how incredible our bodies are, how incredible the fact that any of this is happening in the first place, the fact that you're even conscious. The fact that I'm aware, talking right now to this camera, that someone used their hands to build this camera, it's beautiful, and we don't stop to appreciate it. There's no other consciousness in the universe that, I mean, that's a whole religious theory. But even if it's not, the fact that you're here right now, the fact that you are able to experience any of this and you're going to spend it jerking off physically and metaphorically. Again, up to you. But that's not how I'm going to live my life. Absolutely not. And you should never for a second let any of these evil motherfuckers steal a moment of your life on wasting time on TikTok. Flushing your dreams down the toilet. How old were you when your first dream got crushed? Far too young. Again, you have one chance on this earth. And you must follow your dreams. It's your duty. I really believe it is your duty. And to get there, you again must control and fuck off from all this genuine bullshit. And never shit talk anyone ever again. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Your precious time, the thing that you can't buy no matter how rich you get. No matter how rich you get, you can't buy back time. So spend it wisely, bro. Like I said earlier, I think it's God being like, hey, I know you couldn't see me on earth despite the beautiful mountains and the valleys and the fog and the sunsets and the sunrises and the animals and the way nature, all of it works despite being violent, which I still do wonder about. But then he's like, can you at least see me in space? And he creates the pillars of creation. And you're here for a reason, and screw anyone that says you're just a meat suit with nerve impulses. You are a soul. You are a spiritual being. Be in the world, not of the world. But you are here for a reason, viewer. And it's not to go with the system and work a desk job like everyone else. If you want to be a doctor and change lives, please. But really evaluate, especially if you're in college video coming out soon, by the way, really evaluate why you're doing the degree you're doing, why you're doing any of the stuff you're doing. Audit your time, being like, what am I doing wasting this time? What am I doing wasting that time? What can I be doing to improving? Always be thinking, what else? And you know, I used to think that was negative. I used to be like, Reese, you know, you can't be too hard on yourself. You can't always be like chasing and trying to do stuff and being so hyperactive, but it's like, no. And this doesn't tire me out. I feel more energized 20 minutes into this video than I did at the start. That's real work. Your real deep work, the only thing that you could actually improve upon. Do it. And make it as beautiful as you can. And you are here for a purpose that I hope you do discover. And I want to help you discover it. Coaching calls in the description. But also here to have fun. When's the last time you just went out and did something fun? That's not just a club. That's not just a party. That's all people do here. And I do it too. And I think it's fun, but I don't do it like everyone else. Not to say I'm superior or anything. I don't drink alcohol when I go out and I have more fun than anyone else there. When's the last time you picked up a new hobby? When you watched Karate Kid and decided, hey, I want to learn some karate. Or when you decided to just learn surfing if you live by a coast. What's stopping you? You live in California, maybe, and you don't surf? What are you doing? Why haven't you started your YouTube channel yet? Why, viewer? Why have you not started the things that you want to start yet? And will you? And you will if you control. Anyway, I think that's all from me. Listen to my music. I'm very proud of it. And I wouldn't be telling you to listen to it if I wasn't proud of it. We also released a music video, it's a pretty funny video. Coaching calls, I can and will change your life. And I want to help you change your life because you deserve it, child of God. You deserve to have your life be on track, and God will help you get there. But also, it's hard to directly talk to God. Anyway, visit a lake and journal and think, and have a beautiful rest of your day.